we're going to talk stick mixes now. So I've got Gaz with me. So you show me yours, I'll show you mine, mate. Go on, what's in there?
Okay, cool. Right, as a base, this is the same base I always use for all my stick mixes. I'm using Fusion at the moment.
Right, so it's chop boilie?
Yeah, it's chop boilie.
Right.
Just in the blender, blitzed for probably a couple of minutes just to get it down really nice and fine. As you can see, there's no big bits left in there.
Yep.
Any big bits, you're going to risk impaling your hook point when you
Absolutely.
put it into the sticks. There's only some really tiny, small little pieces in there. The rest of it is basically just crumb. And that almost always forms the basis of whatever stick mix I'm making, whether I'm using Cell, Fusion, Activate, anything, always
So whatever
that.
boilie you're putting in, you're crumbing that up as your base.
Exactly.
Stick
That's
mix.
the base for my stick.
Right, and what goes in next?
Next thing is tuna.
I've never used that before.
No, you wouldn't.
Radical.
Tuna with the brine as well, obviously because you've got the salt and all the attraction from the tuna.
Yep.
So that goes in there as well.
Go on then,
so
whack that in there.
I'm not going to put the whole can in because I'm not making that much. I don't want it to be too wet.
Okay.
So I'm probably going to put about half the can in there, like that. Out of the way. Next, I don't. Do you want to get your nose around that?
Oh, mate. Oh. That's like toe jam, that smells. That is minging. What is it?
It's horrendous. It's a product, it's an Oriental product called Balakam. And it's kind of been on the secret list for I've been using it for about probably 10 or 12 years, but it is actually commercially available now through some carp fishing companies. It's just basically fermented shrimp in block form. It's really salty, incredibly strong, really strong. So obviously you
What's
get
it
really
used for then
potent.
normally?
It's actually a cooking ingredient, believe it or not, as bad as it smells.
Yeah.
But it's kind of quite sort of pasty, it's really hard. So I just use a little grater, bring a little grater with me.
Right.
And I just grate it in like that. And it just grates in perfectly.
Jamie Oliver, eat your heart out.
So that goes in there. And this also helps form the salt content of my steak mix.
Right.
Like yourself, place a lot of faith in adding salt to my baits. So
If there was smell-o-vision, ladies and gentlemen, you would
not be happy.
Gagging like me. That's minging.
So that's in there. And then the last thing is the Fusion liquid, which
Right.
just complements everything.
Cool. And that's is that the dip or the neat stuff for the boilie?
No, this is the dip.
The dip.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
and just
cool.
a little bit of that. I can always put some more in afterwards. Obviously, you don't want to make it too wet to start off with, so start low with any liquids. And then it's just a case of getting your hands in. And no, I like to use my hands so I can.
Okay. Go on then.
So I can actually
Get it in
blend
there.
it. All that tuna, all those big lumps. Make sure you break them all up.
And when
Work
would
it
you
all
and when
in.
wouldn't you use a stick mix?
I like fishing sticks. I mean, a lot of my fishing is sort of done over boilie, and I actually tend to use sticks often more as a kind of anti-tangle measure than sort of anything else, because obviously they're perfect for that. Stopping your hair tongue, you don't have to tie your rings and things up with PVA, anything like that. You just pop on a little stick, and it just gives you that extra tiny little bit of concentrated scent around your rig.
So do you have that on more often than not, or?
I would probably say maybe 50-50.
Right.
Something
and
like
when
that.
wouldn't you use it then, just so people
Kind
know?
of when I'm using it, I still like using stringers. Good
Right.
good old stringer. Especially when I'm boilie fishing, like using 18s and spreads of boilies. I'll probably fish a 2-bait stringer.
Right.
But the situation that I've been in here, I'm fishing at really long range, like 130, 140 yards. So I've been using the long chuck funnel web, just a really small one, only maybe 1.5 inches, maybe something like that, and it's just to stop tangles really is the main key. So that's pretty much done. It's nicely blended.
Look at that. That's
as you can see, and it smells incredibly strong. It's a really potent little mix.
Cool. Yeah.
Because of the Balakam.
Yeah. Very nice.
So you just got a beautiful little pile.
Yeah.
Of.
And how long will that last?
Stink.
How long will it last before you?
Out in the water.
Well, no. Like, how long would you use
on the
it
bank.
for? How long does it take to go off?
I'd probably I'd probably make it fresh every 2 days maybe.
Yeah. Right.
I certainly wouldn't want to leave it any longer than that because the tuna. But again, it depends on the weather. If it's baking hot, I might even make it fresh every day.
Right.
Just for confidence.
Yeah, I found the same in the summertime. If you're using fresh fish,
Yeah.
it loses its potency.
It does,
it dries out, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to have the attraction
Yeah.
after 24 hours. You know.
So that's mine.
Right.
You're going to show me yours?
Yep. Right. Give us some of them hook baits first of all, because that's what I'm going to start off by doing. Is dousing a few of those up. Been doing this for quite a while. These little hook baits, just a few of them into a bag, because what I'm going to put on them will make them sort of go off, maybe not even as many as that, depends how many bites you want to get in your session. And then before, rather than pouring that lovely juice out the way, that goes into there and soak them in like that. They're brilliant anyway as a hook bait. They're brilliant anyway, but
that's a new one for me. That I must admit,
just soaks into them and just adds to it. And I don't like using a lot of juice in my stick mix. So I'll just pour that other bit away because I don't want it to go too soft, and I don't want my pellets to go all mushy.
Yep.
I'm a bit posher than you. I use a fork, mate. Right, so we just smash that up in there again in brine, because I found in the summertime the stuff in oil works brilliantly, but in the winter time I've done a lot of stick mix fishing. It just doesn't seem to be the one in the winter. So and I do a lot of fishing with sticks in the winter, just as singles, you know. Then a little bit of Tabasco going in there. That or powdered chili, both are excellent. But I just think because this is already fluid, it dissolves in the water a little bit better, you know. So mix that up. The other thing we put in the chili in there is it turns it pink and it makes it look like using salmon rather than tuna as well. So that's another little... It's amazing how many sort of what I would call pressured syndicate waters no one uses things like this, because it's uncool, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's uncool
totally,
to use
I'd
PVA.
agree. Yeah.
And then a bit of salt in as well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
just
it.
to enhance the flavour. Mix that round all together. Get that bit of grass out of there.
I mean, I've done well on all sorts of bits and bobs in my stick mixes. In the winter, I've done really well with using liquidised bread. Done really well on that. I'm not sure whether it's any small ones, because it's quite blatant on the bottom because it's bright
Spreads
white.
a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you know, you've got almost like a palm-sized white patch, but it's with a little bait in the middle. Done really well on that in the winter.
Right, a few pellets. Just the 2mm bloodworm pellets that I've rated so highly for a while, because we've seen the fish's reaction to them on the underwater film. And that's why there's not too much juice in there, because after a few hours they soak it up and it becomes, I want it to be loads of little bits. I don't want it to be one solid lump, you know. So whack a few more of those in there, I think. It's just really combining all the things that I've caught fish on in the past, you know. And then some ground bait. There's loads of different ground baits you can use. I've used the mainline ones, they're fishy ones, very good. This is Hinder's Blitz, very, very oily. A few little tiny pellets in there as well. And Mr. Penning's had a very good reaction to this in his garden pond. So,
I mean, really, the main bulk of that is tuna, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say it's probably 50% of it. And it just, you can see that it just goes nice and flaky. You know, it's not one stodgy lump. As ground bait, it's going to sort of form almost straight away, but you could use that almost instantly. I like it to soak in for a few hours, to be honest, and let some of the goodness from the tuna soak into the other bits. But that is basically it. Just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, we've colour-coded everything now. The systems have been updated, so they're a nice carpy green colour, and can you see there we've got red and red. That's for your long chuck system, available in 5 metres and 20 metres as a refill. And then for your PVA Funnel Web, which is what I'm using on the smaller venues here, it's just a little bit easier to work with, green and green. And you want the hex mesh if you're using sticks, because the holes are bigger, so it's easier to get a stick needle through it. So that is stick mixes. There's no reason to not use them. They stop the rig tangling, they keep the hook away from any weed or anything on the bottom, and they get you loads more bites.